Won't be long before we'll be making vroom vroom noises.
Vroom vroom and bring old Blair in.
We got to get the hood pulled off. We got to get the headers off the 340, but cleaned all the K member and all that stuff. Don't know if I showed you that. I did that just to be obnoxious. Dad!
What?
Duster! Dad!
What?
What are you doing holding that seal? What'd you do to that? There was nothing wrong with that seal. What'd you do to it?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Alright, well the time has come for the 340 and the Duster to finally meet. Thank you, Mom.
Are you stopping?
Alright. Oh, the magical thrills of trying to put a motor mount in. Oh,
Here,
alright.
let me.
It's tight now. Thanks to Dad's homemade tool.
We should show off that homemade tool.
We will.
Look at it.
This moment. Everything should be good. Knock on wood. Hang on, excuse me, Mom. It's true. So, human tripod right there. Have you ever had a reason to get a girlfriend? And they make cookies for you.
I do.
Yeah, she makes me cookies. Not you guys. But she might make you cookies if you ask. Yeah, freaking stoked. 340 is in the Duster after 2, maybe 3 years now, maybe in plan. It doesn't matter. The fact is, it's in there, and you know what I need to do? Well, Dad, I don't know how to thank you enough. That was yet another wrestling fight that we conquered again, and we got her done. Thank you again. Thank you, Anna, for filming, and for going and getting the motor mount and all the other parts that I didn't feel like going to the parts store and having to socialize for. We got the steering disconnected on the Duster because the TTI headers are laying right there, and Anna printed off the scroll work for us on how to install said TTI W2 headers. I'm not exactly sure when the last video update was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't dark out. Headers are still kind of mocked up. They're in there for the most part. And hopefully this time when I say we'll see you in the morning, we will actually see you in the morning and not 5 months from now. Oh, I love it when a dream comes together, but this is not the right video. Because this video is all about the Duster, and the last time we left off with filming was the engine was sitting a little bit wonky. I mean, like, I thought I was just seeing shit. Dad thought he was seeing shit. And then we eventually just kind of agreed that, yeah, the engine was not sitting straight. It was sitting cocked up at an angle over on the driver's side, which you'll actually see the passenger side header is bolted on. Not a problem, really. We couldn't get the driver's side to fit. Like, it was just coming up and hitting something. And that mixed with the way the engine was looking wonky, like this whole side up here, it legitimately looked like it was like an inch higher, half an inch higher. And I was just thinking, oh, it might just be our eyes playing tricks on us. Well, as it turns out, when we pulled the motor mounts off, because, well, we replaced the bad one and we kept the one on the driver's side how it was. So now we got 2 brand new motor mounts from Anchor that'll probably fail instead of just one. But the driver's side one, see, it's a nice original. It had this spacer plate, which, if this is supposed to be on there for some reason, I am probably doing the wrong thing, and we're doing the wrong thing, because that shit ain't going back in there. I wonder if that ain't something to do with that torque arm that was there. I don't know. I just, that right there would raise the engine up on one side. It just doesn't really make any sense why you wouldn't have that on both sides. It just, anyway, so that's just for everybody out there in YouTube land. That was kind of interesting. And Well, now we'll get these motor mounts back on here. We got, well, I had the driver's side sitting in there.
Pull it out to look at it some more.
Oh yeah, and Dad's still studying, so we'll get these things in here, get this engine set in there once for all, and these headers will get bolted on someday. Hopefully before the heads start to rust. I'm just gonna state this for the record. It's a good thing we got Dad on the payroll, kinda, because he noticed that besides that one weird piece of steel that was holding up the motor mount, that somebody had installed one of the motor mounts upside down because they didn't understand they could be installed upside down. This moment. So motor mounts are going to go in there now the correct way. We have brand new anchor motor mounts that are totally not going to fail, and we definitely don't have Moroso solid mounts already on the way. At the recommendation of a racer buddy who knows what he's doing with A-bodies and racing and huge horsepower. We also have that torque strap, which we're going to put back on because inevitably when it does not tear one of those anchor mounts, namely the one on that side, not on that side actually, we can still use that torque arm to basically, you know, keep it from the engine, you know, just leaping out of here, because that's not a fun day. Anyways, back to motor mounts. How's the motor mount job, Dad?
Yeah, it's tight. My hands are too big. Look at her.
Working on one of the smallest A bodies. Well, working on an A body Chrysler.
It's definitely not a rock crusher.
Yeah, and it's definitely got a lot of. I mean, we literally crammed everything in here you possibly could. As far as just everything, there's just no extra room really. And this is just going to get worse when we add that 26-inch B-body radiator that's going to require us to trim that little stud right there. Because it's not that important. Because this car has the core support opened up to only accept a 26-inch radiator. And I don't want to build little brackets to shove a little rinky-dinky radiator in here. So, yeah. Alright. There's another 50 some odd seconds wasted of your guys' time. Alright. Hope you got some enjoyment out of this minute, because next time we check in, it may be cool, it may not be. Not my problem right now. We're just entertaining and having a good day. You about ready to drop that engine down, Dad? How's that Kickapoo Joy Juice?
I highly recommend.
There it kind of dropped down in. Motor mount's pretty dang close here, I'd say. All right, well that looks like we're in business. That one's kind of lined up too, so a little bit of wiggling and all that nonsense. Get this thing bolted in and that fun will be done. Well, unfortunately, fellers and non-fellers, you missed Mom visiting. She was helping Dad with this header. I had to go take a break because, well, here's the selection of wrenches here in our newly formed 3/8 Job Smart wrench for header installation. You see the number 10 millimeters, the variations here, and I know there's a stubby somewhere in here that's not, I don't know, maybe the stubby's still somewhere down the header collector, I don't know. But yeah, you see all the other wrenches too, like, just gonna warn you guys, you want to put TTI headers on your car, yeah, when they say they fit, they mean they fit, and that means they fit exactly right there. They don't go anywhere else. They can't be a half an inch over that way. They can't be a scotia of an inch that way. You can't even think about the headers being anywhere but where TTI wants them to be. Okay, I think I got all that out of my system. The headers are finally bolted on. Just enough thread engagement from those stupid overpriced ARP header bolts, but that's all that was available, and it's good enough. So, at least the engine's starting to sit normal, and well, we're gonna get these motor mounts in. Joys of installing motor mounts with everything else in the way. So I got to do the driver's side, and Dad was just complaining that I'm bragging because I already got all my bolts in, and it was a fight and a half. And actually I only had one bolt in, and then the other two front ones were fighting me, and Dad did some kind of miracle thing where the engine just kind of moved and shimmied, kind of like it just did right there. And all of a sudden all my holes lined up and I was able to throw bolts in there along with the torque strap, and they just all basically threaded themselves. And the struggle's real on this side apparently. You know, like you got a power steering sector and all that stuff in the way, and we're just gonna come over here and Dad's complaining because the alternator's in the way. But I can, looks like
And
you
a
could,
fuel pump.
oh yeah, I think I undid all this side one point because, yeah, you got nice access to that one right there. Look at
Got
that.
that one snugged up.
Look at all that room you got to work with. You can actually see what you're doing on this side. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want this to come off as that way, but I mean, and yes, I'm being completely biased on the angle I'm giving you with the camera. But even without the unbiased picture, you see that? I mean, you're just,
There, just fell in. I got it.
you got it?
Got it.
Woohoo! High five, Dad.
A couple little jacks, little pumps on the jack.
Bring her on down, Dad.
There it is.
Okay, front end's got to settle. That was not very, let's see, that was not nearly as dramatic as I had expected. But the 340 is in there. It looks like it's actually in there straight, nice. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. That's, anybody who's curious what that looked like, what that look would be like, carburetor just gonna be barely poking through. Actually, it's not gonna be too bad. Headers are on for good, starter's on. Dad got the motor mounts all finished up. This little torque arm thing, I let Dad finish that because I got frustrated. It was kind of annoying me because we had it in the wrong hole and he tired of fighting with little things. So, but we get it,
What are you
Dad.
doing for clearance on them headers?
The clearance?
Don't call me clearance.
I don't know exactly how much clearance we got, but
I'm gonna get my light. Looks like it's not on the steering sector.
not anymore. You can see all the white paint where it was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think everything fit pretty good. They're all tightened up, so now it's just like actually unzip tie the plug wires and put those in their final resting place. And then, you know, connect the fuel line and fit the radiator and then plug the MSD box back in it. And eventually I've got to tackle the tunnel ram linkage because the Mopar tunnel ram is just short enough that I've got to make some custom stuff to make that work. But yeah, coming together. Won't be long before we'll be making vroom vroom noises.
Boom, boom, and bring old Polara in.
Yeah, that's the whole plan, is to get this thing to where she's motivating, hopefully before snow hits the ground, so that way this car can go live outside where it belongs, like the little A body it is. And so the idea is to bring in that Polara, that red turd, and bring it in here because it's no longer a super turd. It's actually a really nice turd now. And get it kind of duded up, do all the interior and all that crap. So that'll be the job. So, but it's been another extravagant weekend.
You can put a plug in for a Milwaukee 3/8 drive. That thing is handy as shirt on a pocket. Pocket on a shirt. Shirt on a pocket. Pocket on a shirt.
We need shirt pockets. Yeah. I don't know why shirt pockets gotta cost so much extra, but beside the point. Alrighty, well. A lot has changed on the old 340 because, well, we've done a lot of mock-up. Got a brand new power steering hose hooked up here. We replaced the O-rings in that sector. At least I tried, and then it failed, and then Dad got it. He's got a better set of O-rings than I do. And, well, everything's basically hooked up here, waiting on a power steering belt because, well, I may have ordered 3 of the wrong ones. And, yeah. Anyway, so waiting on that. And I got the radiator kind of fitted because this is a 26-inch B-body radiator, and it don't really want to fit here too great. But our core was already cut wide open, so we have to fit one of these, or we'd have to get a 22 with adapter brackets that space it way out. And I figure, why not just go ahead and get the bigger, badder radiator, because this engine's probably going to need all the cooling it can get. I'm going to replace those 2 pieces of rubber and eventually probably ditch all these lines and this training cooler. It's in the car, which is going to be a pain to get to now because I'm putting the radiator in, but I'll deal with that problem later. because I'll probably use one of those evil energy tranny coolers, and I'll get me some more line, and I'll run everything in AN for this car, because, well, I'm thinking that's going to be a good move. So, but we should be able to get everything hooked up. I've test fitted the lower hose, which is going to be this flexi feller, because it goes from 1 3/4 to 1.5 inches, which is what I have to have, because the small block here with the earlier style water pump is 1.5 inches, whereas the lower hose on this B body radiator is still 1 3/4 for a big block, whereas both of the uppers here are 1.5 inches. So had to have that guy. I normally don't like flexi hoses, but luckily it's on the bottom, so we ain't got to worry about it being too ugly. I've got a fan setup, which I'm going to go ahead and get mounted once I get my holes drilled, because, well, none of our holes are going to line up clearly, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a whole bunch of new holes in this core support to mount this nice radiator and get everything hooked up, so that way this thing is just that much closer to firing up, because we got wiring we've done all hooked up here. I have modified a throttle cable bracket set up, because the W2 heads, the bolt spacing is a little bit narrower, so I think I had to remove a 1/4 inch. I may have talked about that in the past, but if I did or didn't, now you know. So trying to get all the factory stuff hooked up, like the kick down, because this transmission has a standard valve body in it still, so trying to do everything the right way. And, well, with tunnel rams, that's kind of a pain in the butt, but that's one of the things we will conquer that at some point. But right now, let's do the easy stuff, like put a radiator in this thing and get hoses on it, and, you know, we don't really have to run the throttle with the gas pedal for that yet. I mean, we can still just do it this way. So yeah, I think that's more important. Alrighty, so I got to redact some of the old video footage, because, well, the fan clutch I had installed on here, actually, after I got it bolted up, I noticed it had a bunch of slop in it and I wasn't okay with it, so I actually found the old fan that came off the 340, which is a clutch fan 5 blade. And, well, we robbed the original clutch off of it, which has the Chrysler ink stamp and all that stuff, and I kind of wish I would have shown that to you guys, because it's kind of cool. But put our 7 blade guy on there, and Dad right now is working on the lathe, because he's making spacers, because we changing the alternator out. We had this brand new one from our friend Tommy, so we're going to put that on there, even though it's a dual groove, and we're not going to use a second groove, but it's new, and it's a dual field, and that's actually what the car's set up for. So Dad's getting the spacer working for that. So, well, to be honest with you, I'm kind of proud of my dad, because he's working on the lathe right now. That's kind of cool. Well, Dad was working on the lathe, and now I see him back to his old ways with the bench grinder.
Oh, I had a burr on there.
Oh, you had a burr. Ah. You find some cutting stock?
Yeah, a piece of nipple.
7/8?
Yeah, that worked pretty good. That was pretty painless.
There you go. So is that all the racket I was hearing while I was putting everything together?
I caught it on the drill bit, so it didn't go flying.
Ah. That is a technique I have used before. It's probably not proper lathe technique, but it works.
I was there digging around the shavings for a little video thing.
Well, that's why I cleaned all the shavings. All right, I gotta film that just because, Dad. Your spacer is the perfect length, but what's your one problem?
I never checked to see that a 3/8 bolt would fit through it, slide through it. It'll probably thread through it.
I've been there before. I have been there before. All right, back to the lathe.
Back to the drawing board.
Now, I got a boring bar. I'll show you how to use that. Alrighty, well, with Dad's new spacers he made on the lathe, instead of just boring out the hole, we ended up just he made a whole new one, because, well, yeah, needed to be a little bit bigger. One of those oopsies, but radiator hoses on, all that stuff, belts look great, everything's lined up. So now we're gonna mess with all the little stuff, like the wiring and the tidbits and the gauges and all that nonsense, and then we'll tune back in once ready to start, you know,
now we got
testing.
Dual field.
Yep,
Our harness works perfectly.
that'll be awesome. So we'll tune back in when we got more.
What you doing down there, bud?
I'm putting these gauges in. Probably the most expensive and nicest gauges I've ever freaking bought. Odometers. And need to make sure I install them crooked, so that way it bothers people, like I did on the Cuda. People really didn't like that. Yeah, just getting all the little stuff finished up here, and not gonna make my dad lay underneath the dash. I'll do that.
I already ran the lines, the center lines to them.
Hey, I was trying to make myself sound pretty good there.
Okay.
I didn't make you do that.
Okay. Alright.
Alrighty. Well, those guys are in there. Oh, just threw my hat off. That's okay. But pretty happy with that. So now on to, well, another day, basically. That's enough progress for one more day. Well, so we are just about ready to fire this son of a gun up. We got our fuel filter put in line, just a little clear guy right there. We got some gas in a bottle over there on the CUDA. And so now we should be about time. Probably just gonna crank this thing over for a little bit, make sure the power steering pump and everything's working, and hopefully not leaking like a sieve, but it probably will. So here's to cranking her over, and heck, maybe it might just light off, Dad. You never know. I always meant for this car to actually run and drive out of here, but we're just gonna see if she'll light off for us.
Got fork.
I told you he was going to try to fire up. All right, go back to your corner, Anna. Ready, Anna?
Yep.
All right. So, here we go. W2 340 in the 70 Duster. First fire up with mufflers.
Oh, baby.
Or not. Again.
How poor your battery charger is.
Yeah, poor guy. He's been through a lot.
He has been through a lot. Look at that.
I mean, the one before it went through
Missing
a lot.
one screw.
It's missing one screw.
Well, that one screw is potentially screwing us right now.
Yeah.
That's
Well, according to the meter, battery's pretty well down.
Yeah, there was no guarantee that battery would even work. It was sitting in the 800.
Started on 800.
Yeah, it starts the 800. I mean, I figured it'd be fine for this, but.
I mean, I could get my pickup and put some jumper cables on.
Or we just go route the battery out of 300.
Or we do that.
We should do that.
Leave this one on the charger.
Yeah.
Okay. New light.
Route the battery out of 300. Hit it. I'll give it another shot of fuel as soon as it starts cranking.
Woo!
That got my hair.
Did it?
Yeah. Alright. Try it again. I'm not giving it any forget. I mean, it's been a while since we fired this engine up, and it's been kind of cold.
Yeah, we ain't changed anything on the distributor or nothing.
No.
We know it's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna check oil pressure while you're cranking. The gauge was moving, or the oil was going through the gauge.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah. You'll probably fire up now that I'm back here.
Phone.
What did I just say? You'll probably fire up now that I'm back here.
Phone.
It popped right up to 25 for that little second, so, okay. Go ahead. He doesn't like me. Dad, I get close to the carburetor. Okay, fine. I'll stay back here. I'll watch the oil pressure. Fine.
I was giving it a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you do that. If you don't like me, I'll stay back here. Yeah, go for it again, Dad. We're sending Anna in so she can get warmed up. We adjusted the time and retarded it a little bit. Of course I did that. Oh yeah, look at that. Finally we get to see real results on what a hot rod motor will do to that oh yeah, that almost went a little too far on that one. I think the paint might come off of that tube. I kind of forgot that this
Those fresh paint?
well, I mean, it was pre-baked just a little bit, but yeah, kind of forgot. You see that bubbling? That's me going too far. I went too far hillbilly. Woo! Did?
So it's rowdy.
A little bit.
It's rowdy.
Alrighty. Alright, we got header paint baking on. It's actually, that stuff is impressive actually. I'm quite happy with that. Anna, did it make enough noise?
You were literally vibrating the walls.
Do you think the neighbors will mind?
Nah.
I mean, like old neighbors versus new neighbor.
Nah.
Good enough.
I don't think the Rockford give a shit.
Nope. I wonder if my paint survived down here, the candy paint. Oh yes, it did. It's all smoky down there.
It's all smoky in
Yeah.
there.
That's the header paint, and that's the probably lots and lots of I don't know, I'm out of words. It just sounds great. It sounds just like it did on the stand, amazingly enough. So I'm happy. We just had to play with the timing a little bit, but
Just a little.
just a little bit. I mean, it.
We probably bumped it when we set the engine in.
Yeah, I didn't realize the distributor actually was loose. I thought it was tight. So one of those things, just sometimes you got to check it. So here's to a bunch of background work, and the next time you see this thing, well, hopefully it's running and driving, because I planned on it running and driving out of here, but you know, life happens, stuff happens, and you know what? here at Scott's Speed Shop, you know, good enough is sometimes just, well, good enough, you know? Like, I can settle for just making noise. It can be a giant noise maker. It's just like having a giant run stand that looks freaking sweet. Well, kinda. I mean, however much you can. So, yeah, well, Dad, Anna, viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this long journey to get the Duster to where it's got an engine back in it that technically starts. It won't start off the key yet, but, you know, that's stuff we got to work on. So, yeah, instead of boring you with all that nonsense, we're just going to cut it right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and as always, look forward to seeing the next one. So, as always, take care, and
Bye-bye.
and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Of course, thank you, Dad.